My name is Rhapsody, his name is sneakyteak, and welcome back to the ladder streak, and it's the freaking weekend, baby! We're about to have us some fun. What is up, my friend?
I'm reeling at the joy, the overflowing joy of presentation there. We went from our sneakyteak and Rhapsody streaking straight into a song. I'm at a club now, actually.
Yeah, exactly. We're playing
that?
a remix of a remix.
That's right. The remix of Ignition. That's right.
I mean, we have to do it that way. We're going for Death of the Author. We're just going to completely change the meaning of it. We'll sing it differently with a different tone, and it'll be completely fine.
And it'll be clear that what we're really talking about is an arcade. That's right. Yeah. Wow, what an evolution.
We've got a defect run ahead of us with the Ascension 3 on. Elites are deadlier. Ooh, it's going to be a good time.
I'm pretty stoked. I've fallen in love with Defect over this year. They've perpetually been the hardest class for me, but I'm getting much more consistent as I just realized that defects. So Ironclad's gimmick is what? I can gain strength and I can use vulnerable, and Silent has like dexterity and poison, and Defect's gimmicks are energy and card draw, which are the core mechanics of the game. This is a pretty strong class.
Especially having both of those as gimmicks you can get in a single class gives you the ability to do some really nutty things.
Agree.
Hey, do you want to get a lose all gold for a random rare colorless card here at the start? Not rare, sorry, random. It's just rare, not rare.
Rare draft. We have to decide our path, I think, is the big thing. Because if we're going that middle path into the merchant, then that gets a lot worse.
It does,
but if we're not.
But is there any circumstance where we go into that middle path rather than to the path to the left? More fights, same rest?
Right. I like it because I think that particularly Hand of Greed or like Panache can go far here. Apotheosis is interesting. Ooh, wow. Oh, these are great cards for different reasons. Is this the Apotheosis start that we never take?
I think it is.
I'm kind of down. I mean, people are always harping on this card, and I don't take it as much as I used to, but it changes our pathing substantially. If we keep our deck, I don't want to say small because that's actually impossible for me, but if we make sure that we can get to Apotheosis in a timely fashion, then it means that we can like be more aggressive with our pathing.
Yep. Also means that we have to take fewer rests because past upgrading the Apotheosis, we don't necessarily desperately need to upgrade anything. We can use those as actual, just gain back health in this location possibly. Yeah. I think we should probably
the most
take
aggressive
3
path?
elites. Most aggressive path is a 3 elite path with here cutting across to this and then in. So it'd be hitting this point initially.
And there's no fire until after the second elite.
Yes. I don't know if that's a problem with an Apotheosis in the base deck, though.
I mean, it's going to come down to potions, I think. We can do it because there's a chance to bail, too. And then we would just end up bailing into the Empowered Elite, which is not a horrible outcome.
Yeah, Empowered Elite as well as 2 rests and a shot between them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. Do we want the extra question marks if we're trying to keep the deck thin? Might get a relic. Or a removal.
Yeah, because our base deck is a lot stronger. Sure. And actually, making the easy pool last longer is the big thing that made me think it. Because we'd like to save a little health. Yeah, I like it. Oh my god, is that the exact C's?
Yeah, you love to see it. Ooh, come on!
Well, we're taking fights.
I mean,
taking some fights.
Removals? Upgrades? Removal?
I love Transform here.
Even with the Apotheosis?
Yeah, almost especially with it because we are trying to be choosy, but also we need some power online right now to take these fights. You turned a defend into a boot sequence. That's awesome.
It's not half bad.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get a bottle. Ooh, upgrade Apotheosis and genetic algorithm. Do both.
Okay.
Halfway.
That makes it easier to scale. It's going to be a huge genetic algorithm. Holy crap. Wow. How am I going to be forced to hit the skip button? Can you help talk me through this? I'm going to need help.
Are you going to be forced to hit the skip button?
Yeah, when we see cards now.
Yeah.
We've got an upgraded genetic algorithm, which means that our block density is really high, especially with that boot sequence. In an ideal world, in an ideal world, you produce a 5-card turn 1 infinite, right? So ideal world is a weird thing to talk about in a roguelite. But this deck wants to pick up 1 or 2 big sources of power and then just kind of hang out.
Mm-hmm. The ease with which we find a damage engine is really going to determine how large the deck ultimately is. I think. Oh! God,
Oh, dude. Wow. Okay.
I don't think it's too much this early, especially.
No, I don't. I think you're right. That's just awesome. That's just incredible.
This is the power of question marks. See, like, question marks will occasionally be, oh, I fought a bunch of enemies and I didn't necessarily get anything, or I saw a bunch of opportunities that I couldn't necessarily take at the time. But this is why I have such a high valuation of question marks, because the runs that you do all question marks are either garbage or incredible.
They can become pretty crazy.
I only remember the good ones.
I think the big thing is just being able to switch in and out. Are you thinking about taking the damage? I think I would lose the... Yeah, I think I go max HP there, too.
Yeah, I didn't want to take the damage just because of
the double.
elites.
Yep. You have to be able to switch in and out, right? And at this point, I think this goes from a deck that's, you know, down to do nothing but question marks to almost wanting to do nothing but fights. We've got double genetic algorithm plus in a 13-card deck. Effectively plus because of the apotheosis, right? That's just a lot of power. And that's guaranteed upside, potions, cards, and money. And we can kind of snowball big shops too. Like, we don't have to take a 150 gold shop. We can take a 300 or a 400 gold shop.
Hopefully we don't get any appear on the question marks, because those would just be blank spaces for us.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason to not take too many question marks. This is kind of the point that I'm making, right?
Yeah. Oh, I agree with yours being correct. It's just...
yeah. I get you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Perfect. All right, we got this one done. Took 22 damage in this fight. Bit more than I wanted to take. I like Electro.
Oh, yes, it's so good.
Uses the
It's
AoE.
the pick. It's always Electro here. That's the damage. Oh, geez. There's the question mark.
Do we take Turbo? Because if we're keeping the deck relatively thin, Turbo's a little harder to take.
A little. Well, Turbo is very weird in this way, right? Because most decks, not even just most defect decks, but most decks have won by the time they finish their first draw. Even if you have more turns to play out, you've set up all of your engine, right? And that's part of why Turbo is so takeable. So I do kind of like the Turbo, especially with the apotheosis floating around. But we also have enough money maybe for just a potion here if we want to be really aggressive on pathing. Like, Flex Potion is actually not bad for taking on that triple elite path if we wanted to do that. Electrodynamics makes me feel like we don't need it as much, though.
Yeah, the density of attacks in our deck as well. Like, what are we going to get 2 attacks off with the Flex Potion plus 10 damage?
Yeah. It could just be a skip, and then we have enough money to buy a removal from the Cleric.
I would prefer to skip.
Pretty good. Yeah, I like that. We don't really need to ball out for a Turbo right now.
Cool. Ooh.
Too bad we didn't spend money. This would be 4 gold.
Wait, can it only charge you the money you have?
I think so. Or maybe actually this might get struck out if you don't have enough money.
Yeah, I thought this one got struck out. I thought it was like random between 50 and 60.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I'm happier to give it the money right now, especially considering we have no likelihood for another event or a shop soon.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's snowball.
No.
Wow, nice trade.
Could be a lot worse. Just made a lot of our money go further as well. We can play the genetic algorithms later in this fight. We'll have time, right?
Yeah. We probably will. We'll see.
We don't have enough damage in this deck to not have time.
Do we Swift bot here?
Sure.
Yeah, Electro. And maybe even Zap dual cast, actually.
Okay. And then next cycle, we're just looking for the 2 genetics before we end. If possible.
If we can, and if we just have to get the kill, then we just get the kill. Okay. You know?
That's... I mean, we can't go for the kill here, though. 18-6, it's not enough.
Ooh, ink bottle is here.
Would it have been enough? No, it'd still be 3 more. 18. Wait, no.
It would have done it.
It would have been exact.
We would have Xaxes lethal. That's wild. Unlucky.
Hey,
but,
no, it gets the genetic algorithm.
Maybe this was worth. Maybe this was the real line. Yeah. Yo.
We don't have any damage live yet. That's a one.
I mean, other than
damage.
electrodynamics, which is real damage, but scaling damage.
Bosses?
I like it. I like it here. I like it with the apotheosis too. So do we rest? Right? And then go right there and go elite, fight, rest, and just like get so strong.
Yes, but I'm sad to do it.
We've got the apotheosis. Our deck is fairly upgraded.
I know I said I would be okay with this, but I didn't know I was going to be tested on the the strength of my convictions on that one.
Fair. It's all about getting the apotheosis, and then this fight's done, I think.
Yeah, I just want to see if there's anything that I should bother playing.
Right. Yeah, to like ink bottle as an example. If we didn't have the lightning, we could play the one strike, and that would have been good. But this is perfect. Now we get darkness down, and we in turn again. Oh yeah, that's solid.
Do we want to put
Or is
the
it
zap
darkness
after the
zap?
darkness? Yeah.
I think so. I guess electrodynamics is the one consideration. Yeah, maybe it is zap darkness. Sure, we evoke pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah.
Especially with the 0 costs.
I mean, especially with the electrodynamics producing 3 now that we've got the apotheosis out.
Oh crap, you're right. It's coming out either way. That's a good point.
I think we'll be in this fight long enough.
Sure.
We probably just like live through the first cycle of the attacks, if I had to guess.
Ink bottle, trader bottle. Playing around the ink bottle is the ultimate commitment to craft.
That might not be that bad, because like dual cast in the next, dual cast in the next hand, we're fine.
We just win. It's fine. It's all good.
God, these genetic
Ink bottle is definitely kind of like, ooh. Do you want the 1 rebound?
For the darkness, definitely.
For darkness and just whatever other big like block cards we pick up or whatever.
I honestly don't hate the idea of just having another card that says deal 12?
Yeah.
12, yeah.
I agree. We're still at that phase, right? And we've got Hexatoast coming up, so it's nice to be able to do some cycle control.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ink bottle, and just for, this is kind of a direct address, not only for us, but to people in the comments, because it's a really good point. Ink bottle is like pen nib in that it does reward very careful micro level play. Every extra couple cards that you can play out at the end of a fight to get that ink bottle closer to 9 makes it more effective turn 1 draw, which makes you stronger. It's a good idea, but we also have only enough mental energy to play the whole run, right? So sometimes we'll do a really good job setting it up, and sometimes we might not perfectly optimally set up the ink bottle, and usually at Ascension 3, that will not make or break the run. If we get close, then we'll have to get more optimal.
The times where it matters more, like especially before a certain boss fight, that's when we tend to focus on it much more.
Mm-hmm. Or like setting up an incense burner. That can win or lose the run. That's a big deal. Getting the right number on incense burner before a fight, that's a huge deal.
Oh, definitely. Like making sure the second turn of the Hexaghost or the any specific turn for an enemy. Just,
yep.
This one just plays itself. Wait,
it's nice to have this much block already.
Yeah, it's really, really nice, because otherwise this fight would have sucked.
Mm-hmm.
It also still kind of sucks. 9
Is there
in
something
AoE.
behind us to hologram? No, we played all the good
Nothing
things.
useful. If we duped the Electro, we can get it, but...
Is that even worth the life, though, going straight into Hexa?
That's a good point.
I think we're okay. And in Hexa, we get the apotheosis down.
Sure.
Honestly, I think you can just Electro here. Get a little healing online, kill the sneaky.
I
Take
like
the
it.
10.
If nothing else, this also enables us to get the second genetic algorithm.
Yep. It would be lovely to get that apotheosis. That's the god tier. But that's also probably unnecessary. So I actually...
Recursion go in this deck? Hang on, it's 8 AoE with the electrodynamics, but also, if we're using the darkness as a scaling damage, we're gonna need some way to not... Well, actually, I guess the AoE does the damage on the next one.
You know
with
why
the
I like
collector.
this recursion? I like this recursion because we want to have the energy available to play apotheosis. And it's actually really nice to have cards that become 0 cost. And even if we took a Snecko Eye, it's still nice because the apotheosis upgrades them if they're in hand and makes them free.
I like it. I like it. Let's take the Apotheosis.
This feels worth.
Very glad that I didn't get any genetic algorithms in the opening turn because... Ah, rude.
It's a good turn.
Could have been slightly better though. Just,
Sure,
block.
for sure. For sure.
It's always the case
gosh.
though, ain't it?
You get
Darkness,
to do it
Hologram
all.
Darkness.
And then you can even dual cast Recursion if you just want to be
Love it.
so wild.
You
get to do it all.
Darkness, dual cast. Recurse. Get him.
Look at that. Look at that. Also, wait, take a moment here. Okay, look at the screen.
Yes.
Is Hexaghost just a giant dark orb?
Oh.
But kind of reversed. I know. When this was pointed out to me, I'm still thinking about it, and that was 500 hours of Slay the Spire ago. I never really stopped.
Oh, wait, hang on.
They rotate the same way. Similar palette, but inverted.
I'm literally looking to see if I can see any, like, paint strikes that occur on both of them.
You start to stare at it. You really do. You start to look deeply into the eye of the Hexaghost. Who are you, and how have you made these orb children?
That's mesmerizing. It's beautiful. Actually, I think the more I focus, I'm being pulled to enact the will of the Hexaghost? Huh?
I will build these children for you, Lord Hexa, and then I will release them to you, just as you request. You may have them.
All hail the Hex.
These are yours to command.
Oh my good
It's
giddy
just
God.
going ham. Actually,
Yeah, just go ham.
just go ham. GG. Oh, we gotta drink it. Oh my
We're
god.
almost... I know, but
Wait.
that's there. But
I think it's biased.
with Electro as well.
I think it's biased. I think it's biased because biased is the most Swiss Army knife of these tools, which is hard to say next to the multicast because multicast is truly a Swiss Army knife. But biased lets us, as an example, extend our repeating block in longer fights later on. It lets the darkness level up quicker, and usually just a dual cast is enough, especially with the hologram and recurrence kind of thing. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's multicast.
So my pitch for multicast is the two orbs with which we are consistently working. We seem to be kind of foregoing frost orbs. We seem to be a little bit
Which
of a
you can
faster
totally
deck.
do with defect, by the way. You don't need to block with frost orbs. We can have just really good upgraded block cards and we'll be fine.
Yeah, like the base defects block set is really good, and we're not even using that. We're using the uncommon defect block set, and it's still really, really good. But the fact in particular that it not only works as AoE purge after Electrodynamics is played, but also
A killer.
after the darkness,
Queen.
it is just killers.
Dynamite with the Hexaghost. Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good point. We have to solve a couple key challenges if we do this. We have to figure out how we're going to beat Transient, which is a common pitfall for that kind of deck. But that's frequently solvable, right? We just make sure we have some good kind of linear damage options in the deck, and genetic gets us a lot of the way there too. Every time we draft one, or every time we draw one, it's a full block for that turn. Let's do it. We can do it.
I think this card is guaranteed to drive you wild.
It's guaranteed to drive you wild. That's right.
That's... Ooh!
Oh.
Wait.
Huh.
We don't want extra slots, do we?
Not really. That makes our hallways worse, and right now we're like very ready for looping.
Oh.
Hear me out. I think this is Sacred Dorito. Yeah.
It's that corn chip.
And look what it does
use
immediately with the big old fruit juice. Velvet Choker we can't do. We're already too deep. And we took a bunch of cards that upgrade to be 0 cost in order to give us kind of an energy surge. And it's still defect, the actual robotic master of card draw and energy. So we can, if we take enough fights, you're not going to love this, but we have to take a lot of fights.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, cool.
Next floor, we're not looking for the Necronomicon.
Yeah, that's true. But Enchiridion and No-Reads are still crazy strong.
I have, like,
Apparitions.
once or twice looked for a Nilrees. I don't know if I've ever looked for an Enchiridion. That's usually the consolation prize for you didn't get Nilrees or your...
No, Enchiridion has a lot of really, really great interactions.
Oh yeah,
Enchiridion
it's
plays
definitely
really
great.
nicely
It's
with
just,
Gambling Chip,
it's just
Mummified
nothing,
Hand.
It's just nothing I've ever specifically looked for.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I'm really happy to take the corn chip here, though.
I think it's kind of rad. The immediate also we get more health right away is it's a feels good moment.
Mhm.
My only sadness is, well, no, the dupe pot will do it. I was gonna say my only sadness is you love to have like a fire potion or an explosive potion online right here because
Mhm.
it turns Sacred Corn Chip into a free fight against birds or something right away.
Yep.
But dupe pot does it.
Well, how about we go very early on the next floor for a shop so that we can replace the fruit juice that we're probably going to spend.
Okay.
Possibly pick up a card as a modification to the amount of damage that we can do, possibly remove one, and then kind of just run with a Sacred Bark through a couple of elites. Because honestly, like the energy cost of this deck does, or rather the
Pretty good.
expected energy expenditure per turn of this deck does
Yeah.
not always meet or consistently meet or exceed the amount of energy we can generate, despite everything.
But it can use more energy, which I love. With hologram and rebound and stuff, we can take advantage of more energy if we want to. I would say blowing the fruit juice right away, the one thing that I consider for Act 2 is we want to hold it long enough to have a chance to find apparitions because that makes that such a more favorable interaction.
Oh yeah, definitely. You blow this when you are about to pick something back up.
When
it needs to be replaced. Like at the last available opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Because if we could go right here to 40 max health and then to 50 max health with apparitions, that's wild.
I'm on board. We're gonna have that happen in the next video. Link in the description down below. Hope to see you there.